too. How's everyone doing this lovely I'm gonna drop down Friday, fuck it. I'm gonna lovely Friday. It's your boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Tribe with me.
Yo,
Yeah, and continuing on with the series. Before I start though, got a few I want to say rest in peace to James Kane and shit. You know, he plays Sonny Corleone on The Godfather. He died yesterday and whatnot too. So I want to say rest in peace to him. Um, I think that's the only person that died recently and shit. And I already said rest in peace to the people in that
mm,
festival parade and shit too. So all
yeah,
right. So we're gonna start off with this 1997 list and shit. You know what I'm saying? 97 was a very dope year when it comes to R&B and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You had a
mm,
neo soul flourishing. You had the bad boy influence R&B doing this thing. You had Mariah Carey reemerging. You had Janet Jackson doing a thing. Like this was just a well-rounded year. Everybody got a little something. Like I never thought so many bangers was from '97. Honestly, even
right.
some of the soundtracks too and
Mm-hmm.
shit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So without further ado, let's get this shit started. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
Number 10. This is a group from Houston. It's H Town with Ladies Edition. Now, a lot of people they kind of have mixed feelings when it comes to this album and whatnot
mm-hmm.
because they say it wasn't as sexual as like the first two and
Right,
whatnot, and they were kind of this is when they were really after going against Luke because they had
right,
like full creative control and whatnot, and they actually signed to Relativity Records, the same record label like Common, Fat Joe, and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? So
mm-hmm.
they had full creative control, and they want to do like a more love songs and whatnot too. And get this, the album was
Right.
dedicated to Nicole Simpson.
OJ, wife.
Yep.
Oh shit. Why? She from Houston?
No, because it's like with OJ, the OJ trial and shit like that too. I guess they
Mm-hmm.
felt sorry for her family and stuff like that. I think they were trying to do something, but it's just like,
Oh
okay,
wow, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. I think it was on the unsung episode and shit like that too. But
Wow.
honestly, this might be like my third favorite album they've ever done, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion and shit too. I mean, is it as good as um the first two? Not quite, but vocally, I feel like they definitely did their thing on this record and shit. Like I love
Mm,
Ways to Treat a Woman. They like it slow, which that was like pretty much vintage H Town, right? I think they had the label really wanted that as a single.
right.
Um, Jezebel, Visions in My Mind. Like all my Dino fans, y'all would definitely love this record because he pretty much produced this whole record and shit too. You know what I'm saying? I wish this album got more praise and whatnot. I always feel like Begging After Dark and Ladies Edition were very underrated and
Right.
shit too, but that's just my opinion.
All right. Number 10 for me is Boys to Men Evolution. Very dope album. Like this is the last Boyz II Men album from the '90s. It's the last Boyz II Men album that I actually enjoyed. I actually went to the autograph, the meet and greet when this album dropped. Back in '97 at a Virgin Megastore, and but it was cold out. I remember waiting in line, and they had a long ass line for them to, and they showed up late, and it was cold out that night. It was like it had to be like 40 degrees that night, and it dropped in September '97, and it was
Oh
cold
damn.
that night. Yeah, and me and my cousin had went. My cousin was visiting from the Caribbean, and he was a huge Boyz II Men fan, and we was standing in line, but we didn't meet them because it was like it was too cold that we ended up just leaving or going home. But this album was definitely a dope album. For Four Seasons of Loneliness, I think that was the first single. Doing Just Fine was dope, and Can't Let Her Go. Very dope production. They worked with Puff Daddy at this point, and you know, I believe Jimmy Jam and Taylor did some stuff on here as well. And this was a dope album, but it's definitely like the last Boyz II Men album that I enjoyed. I didn't like nothing of their stuff in the 2000s, and definitely I forgot this came out in '97. I thought it was like '98 this came out, but it was '97.
Yeah,
Definitely they last great album to me of the '90s. So
yeah, man. Honestly, that was so close on making my list, but that's an honorable
mhm,
mention. That's
right,
that might be like my number 11, if anything.
okay,
Too. I would say my thoughts on that one. Now, my number 9 is actually an album I don't hear a lot of people talking about. It's
mm,
pretty much like a neo soul is kind of album. It's from this artist named Adriana Evans, her self-titled album.
I heard of that. I heard the album. It was a long time ago though.
Yeah, I was recently just scrolling down YouTube and I came up. I was trying to look for some different R&B because sometimes I like to just say, give me some new rare R&B, the
Yeah,
underground kind of shit. And this
right,
album came out. It was a girl with an afro.
mm,
Looked like she just woke up and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
I heard the album a while back. It was definitely, and it was on Loud Records too. That's the thing.
hmm, yeah,
The greatest record label in hip hop history, next to Def Jam, of
facts,
course.
facts,
This album has songs like "Love Us All Around," "Hey Brother," "I'll Be There." You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Definitely have that smooth candlelight wine drinking R&B. You know what I'm
yep,
saying?
yep,
The kind of R&B I love, honestly.
hmm, facts,
That's my number 9 and shit. Definitely got to talk about that album one day, but I want to actually get a physical when I do that.
yeah. I know it's out of print.
Yeah, but it's not too expensive
You
though.
know what I'm saying?
Not too expensive.
Number 9 for me is LSG, Levert, Sweat and Gill, R&B supergroup. Not too many, super groups can you have an R&B and I think after this album it was groundbreaking because you had people try to do their own super group like TGT and they failed,
Tyrese.
and right, you had a Milestone, but I don't think Milestone dropped the album though, but
Black Men United too. Don't forget them. Oh yeah,
right, them,
they came before. They came before.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, but this was a great super group and you already had Johnny Gill in New Edition with him being a solo artist and then going into this group with Keith Sweat and the late great Joe Levert, rest in peace, Joe Levert. And oh man, this was a phenomenal album, yo. Like I didn't expect this to be a great album like that. And you had the first single, My Body, nice ballad, a classic record. You had You Got Me with the Locks. The Locks is on this album. You had Missy Elliott on this album. Who else is on here? Faith Evans is on this album. On Curious, you got LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, MC Light. That was a single. Jermaine Dupri's on this album as far as production. Of course, P Diddy and the Hitman because Puffy was everywhere at this point in '97. you know, Jazzy Faye, he's on Let a Player Get His Freak On. Definitely a banging hip hop soul album, and it was dope. Like it was a great super group, with three balladeers coming together. And they did the second album I never heard, but I know they did a second album. They never got a chance to do a third because Joe Levert's passing or whatever. But their first album is definitely a classic from the '97.
Yeah, I definitely love LSG. That's on my list too and shit.
Mm-hmm.
My number 8 is Joe's second album, All That I Am. A lot of
Yes.
people think this is like his first album and shit too, but the first album, I've heard the first album a while back ago and shit like that. It
Yeah,
was alright.
that was '93.
Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, this album to me definitely was the beginning of the Joe we all know him of today and stuff like that. This was known for songs like All the Things Your Man Won't Do, which that was on the Don't Be a Menace to South Central or Drinking Your Juice in the Hood soundtrack. Don't Want to Be a Player, that was the next fucking joint, which that was also on the Booty Call soundtrack.
Right,
Power soundtracks back in the days, I swear to God.
right.
No One Else Comes Close was dope. Love Don't Make No Sense. How Soon. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very dope record in my opinion. Probably next to this one and maybe My Name Is Joe. This might be my favorite record from him. And shit
Mm-hmm.
like that too. So
Right.
definitely got to get my hands on this record one day.
It's still available. It's still I
Yeah,
believe Amazon has it. So
yeah, it does.
Number seven. This is the album. Number eight. This is the album that we talked about last week. Definitely enjoy this album. One of his best albums. Brian McKnight. Anytime.
I
Classic album. My
forgot that
favorite.
came out in '97.
Yes, my
Okay.
favorite Brian McKnight album. And this was great. It was definitely great revisiting this album. A lot of the songs on here, "You Should Be Mine" with Mace, and the title track was great. And "Hold Me." Um, you got the bomb. Definitely love the production on here as well. It's definitely a five mic classic on the album. And Brian McKnight, he was, I think, to a lot of people, like this was like his breakthrough album, and he just blew up after that. So definitely had to have this on the list.
Yeah, very dope record, man. I love the review of the day.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Number seven is a Love Jones soundtrack. Now I was pretty close on putting the Soul Train soundtrack on this list, but
Mhm.
that kind of had a bit more. It was like half hip hop, half R&B, and most of those
Right.
R&B tracks was already going to be on the albums on this list as well too. So I kind
Right.
of went with the Love Jones soundtrack, which honestly, if the album soundtrack had "Hopeless" with Deion Ferris, homegirl
Right.
from Arrested Development,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Love that fucking track. Sweetest Thing with Lauryn Hill. Just those two
Yes.
tracks alone solidified this placement on this list.
Crazy.
Um, it had fucking Lorenz Tate's fucking poem. They put that on the soundtrack. Brother to the Night. I love that joint.
Hmm.
Hell, even had Neil Long's poem and shit too. I like it with the brand new heavies. Can't get
Right.
enough of King Lattimore and shit.
Right.
Um, Trina Bouchard, if I'm saying her name right, she did
Yep.
her own version of Minnie Riperton Inside My Love. I'm just like, this whole fucking record and movie was so dope. Like the movie Love Jones, that's a love
Hmm.
story. That's a
Definitely.
black love story. I don't know where this whole love and basketball shit's coming from, but that's a black love story.
Man.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely gotta
I
talk
love
about
it.
the soundtrack and the movie together. I don't give a
Definitely.
fuck. Fuck love and
Classic
basketball.
joint. Yo, where you stupid?
Nah,
No.
nah. I'm just saying this shit. Man. I'm
Hmm.
just saying. Just saying.
Um,
Fuck them.
you take a shot at that movie any chance you get. I don't understand
I
why.
do. I
I
do.
just think it was a great film, man. Brown Sugar and Love Jones, like those three, I could watch anytime. You know. Number seven, I got Joe. All That I Am. My favorite Joe album. I think this is one of his classic albums. Um, and he was just dropping gems after gems. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to be a player from the don't want to uh what's it don't what is it don't drink your whatever the fuck. I forgot the name of the movie. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking it.
Yeah.
Long ass title. I never liked that title, but it's on that soundtrack, and he blew up with that. Don't want to be a with all the things a man will do. Then he dropped "Don't Want to Be a Player." That was a big hit. The Love Scene, one of my favorite tracks on here. Good Girls, All That I Am. My man had banger after banger, all produced by Joe. He didn't run out and get Babyface and get the track masters and all these other people for his albums. He did shit on his own. He wrote songs on his own. He could sing his ass off. I actually saw Joe live in concert on the New Edition All Six tour in 2014. He was phenomenal. And yeah, this was a great album, man. Like this is definitely one of his classics. And I think it's one of the best albums of '97. And yeah, I definitely got to get this. I should have been had this in my collection. I don't know why I never bought it, but I definitely need to pick this up. Yeah.
And I think I saw this album on stores one time and shit like that. But I think
Mm.
I don't know why I didn't get that album.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is cheap. This is cheap on Amazon. It's like $4 or $5. So
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Alright, next record we got is LSG. That's my next record.
All right.
You already said what you had to say about this one and shit. This was like a very dope balance between hip hop and R&B.
Yeah.
and whatnot because all three of them pretty much experiments with hip hop in the past and shit
Right.
too. At one point or another. I love songs like "Fucking My Body." You know,
Mm-hmm.
you got me with the locks and shit. I fucking like Let Her Play Against Freak On with Jazzy Faye. That was when
Mm-hmm.
Jazzy Faye was really popping and shit too. When he was still
Thanks.
working with Eric Sermon and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very dope record. This how you definitely do an R&B super group.
Oh
TGT
yeah.
notes and shit.
Nah. They try to come close, but they lost. Number six. Number what? We at? Number six.
Yeah,
Number six. Right? Number six for me is John B. Cool Relax. Again, one of my favorite albums from a lot of these artists, like Brian McKnight and Joe John B. I think they dropped their best albums in '97. Um, Bonafide was great. I definitely enjoyed the first album. I think Cool Relax was even better. And he was this blew the fuck up. Like when They Don't Know came out, everybody was bumping that joint. They still That's like it's become a signature song now at his shows. Like it's like you have to, if you go to see John B, you gotta hear him do They Don't Know, produced by Tim and Bob. You had Don't Say, that was a dope song as well. Are You Still Down with Tupac? He talked about recording that song with Tupac on DJ Vlad a couple years ago, and how it was working with Pac in the studio. I think that was like the last time he saw Pac when he recorded that joint. Cool Relax, the title track. I Do What You Say Boo. Definitely a Five Mic classic. Again, this is another artist that was producing his own stuff. He wasn't running to Timberland and the Neptunes and this one and that when he was producing his own stuff, songwriting, everything. And this was a great album.
yeah. Now we're in the top five.
Yes.
Number five is Usher with My Way.
Mm,
Very dope record. This was the record that was pretty much his breakthrough, to say the least. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Had that classic baby face, Jermaine Dupri. I think this
Mm-hmm.
is the first time. I don't know why I thought A701 was the first time him and Dupree worked together, but yeah, they did some
Right.
shit with this one as well too.
Right.
That shit too. Yeah, man, because the first album was mostly executive produced by Puffy and shit. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And this one definitely had more balance and stuff too. He had songs like "You Make Me Wanna,"
Right.
nice way to start off the album and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
His version of Midnight Stars slow jam with Monica.
Mm-hmm.
That's a classic. I actually like that just as much as the original. It
Yeah.
definitely did that thing.
Yep.
Also, check out Monica's version of "Let's Straighten It Out" by Lattimore on the Miss Thing album.
Yes. I love
Classic.
that. Love that joint.
Yeah, "One Day You'll Be Mine" was pretty good. Love
Mm-hmm.
that Ozzy Brothers sample that they used. I think that's actually my favorite song on the album, honestly. Just like me with Lil Kim, you know what I'm saying? That was pretty dope. Yeah, man, I love that fucking dope record. He actually came out with like a live tour album as well too in
Mm-hmm.
'97. You know what I'm saying? With mostly songs from like the My Life, and he also
Yeah.
sang Bobby Brown tracks as well too. So check
Right.
that shit.
Dope. Number five for me is Mariah Carey, Butterfly. One of my favorite Mariah albums. I think this was like we started to see the transition from
That's my next one too.
pop diva Mariah to hip hop remix queen Mariah. And I love this album. Like the album was banging. She picked the right singles, Breakdown with Bone Thugs. You had The Roof, where she sampled the Mob Deep Shook Ones joint, and then she got Mob Deep on the remix. You had My All, the Beautiful Ones, the Prince rendition from Purple Rain. Definitely a Five Mic classic. And what I like also about this album is that Mariah knew how to do two different versions of songs. Like especially like when she was in her hip hop bag, she had her pop version, and then she went and got who she got the hottest hip hop producers and the collabs for the remix. And there's a lot of dope remixes on this album. You had the Honey remix with Mace and the Locks. You had You had the My All remix with North Tariq and Peter Guns. I actually remember buying that CD single back in the day. You had the Roof like my make remix with Mom Deep, like I mentioned. Definitely the remixes were just as dope. There's another Honey remix with the Brat and Jermaine Dupri, and she did like a whole remix album, and it's like how remix albums like phenomenal. Definitely got to get that. But this is definitely like one of her best albums, and she looked gorgeous on the cover. This is like vintage butterfly Mariah. She was infatuated with butterflies and shit, and yeah, I definitely enjoyed this album, man.
Yeah, very very dope record indeed and shit. And that's actually my next choice, my number four and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, this was the album that really broke her. I mean, it transitioned her fully into that whole R&B, like that urban R&B and hip hop market and shit too. Like
Right.
Daydream started it, like it planted the seeds, but this one blossomed and shit too.
Mhm.
You know, butterfly
Facts.
blossoming and shit. Anyway, yeah, this record right here is fire though. I fucking was fucking with this record. Again,
Mhm.
Puffy, Disney, of course. With the Honey song and shit like that. That remix is
Yeah.
big as fuck.
Hmm.
Um, personally, Breakdown. That's my fucking shit.
Yes.
Crazy and Wish. The Beautiful Ones cover with Drew Hill was pretty
Hmm.
good and stuff too. Um, honestly, I like Drew Hill, but I wish that could have been like a Mariah solo and stuff too. I
Yeah.
feel like it would have been more
Yeah. She
powerful.
didn't. I don't think Cisco was needed all on this.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that was when Drew Hill was really like popping and stuff too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Hmm.
like I said,
That's right. 97.
I like them, but I don't love them. Let's just say that.
Right.
The Roof was pretty dope too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, this one probably is probably like my second favorite album she's done, next to Daydream and shit
Mm.
too. You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
Pretty, very dope. Kicking fucking Tommy Mottola to the fucking curb and shit.
Right.
Piece of shit, motherfucker.
Oh man. All right. Number 4 for me is Janet Jackson, The Velvet Rope. Love this album. Janet was in her sexual freedom bag. She was real freaky, real into the S&M thing, and she displayed it on this album, and the production from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and you had the Uma on here, Jay Dilla. I think Dilla did Got Till It's Gone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, don't
Rest in
know.
peace,
Yep.
Dilla. Got Till It's Gone with Joni Mitchell. First single that was classic. And you had Together Again. I love that club beat, and she dedicated that to like the people, people that died with HIV, and fallen loved ones, and you had Tonight's the Night. I Get Lonely. Love that joint. Go Deep. Another banger. Janet was definitely having fun with this album, man. She was having too much fun with this album. She was looking gorgeous as ever on this, and man, I loved it. And it's definitely that. This definitely could have been number one. I forgot this came out in 90. I always thought this was 98, but definitely I don't hear a lot of people talk about Vera Rope. I mean, they I love most of her albums from everything from Control to All for You. I love all of those albums, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about Velvet Rope. It's always Rhythm Nation or Control, or the Janet album. I don't hear too many people, talk about Vera Rope. I think Vera Rope is a phenomenal album. And she was just in her sexual freedom mind state at that point. So um it shocked a lot of people or whatever. I remember reading something. I remember reading the album review in the newspaper, and they were like shocked that she was coming out. She was in her sexual freedom, and she was talking about it, and they were shocked about that. I'm like, why is that controversial? When if Madonna did it, it was okay. You know what I'm saying? If you had one of these lesbian singers like what's her name? Um, what's shorty name? I forgot. It's not Sam McLaughlin. Uh, I forgot
Let's,
shorty name, but
let's say
huh?
Etheridge.
Melissa Etheridge, right? You had her. She was a lesbian for years,
Come
and
to
she,
my window.
yeah, you
Yeah,
know what
I
I'm
didn't
saying.
know
And,
that song.
I'm like, they didn't have no problem with that. So like, why is it a problem when Janet come out and talk about S&M and how freaky she is? It's controversial or whatever. So I think people remember that this album for that. But this was a banging album, and I loved it.
Yeah, definitely. That's on my list as well too. My number four is Mary J. Blige with "Share My World."
That's my
You
number
know,
four, and that's my number three. My bad. That's my number three.
wait, hold up. Yeah, that's my number three. That's what I'm gonna say. Number three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, this album right here. This is like another transitional album for Mary and whatnot too. You know what I'm saying? She left Uptown, but she still stayed with the MCA and whatnot too. And she wanted more creative control. This was right after she broke up with KC. Honestly, this might be one of my favorite Mary J. Blige albums of all time. I love production wise, songwriting. This was a very,
Mhm.
very, very dope album and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? I love songs like "Love Is All We Need" with Nas. Um,
Mhm.
it's on with it's on with R. Kelly was pretty dope too. Yes, I said it, R. Kelly. Fucking her version of "Searching" was amazing. I love that one.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? "I Can Love You." That's probably one of Kim's best guest appearances and stuff as well. You know what I'm saying? This one was definitely a very influential album when it came to her and shit like that. Like this is when she was really transitioning to the more R&B market and
Right.
stuff like that. Like it still had like the hip hop soul,
Mhm.
but like I feel like with this album and Mary was like the more R&B records. Then once she came out with No More Drama, that's when she really came back. But I'm gonna say my thoughts on that.
Yeah, this was great. This was a good album. Um, the production, the features. You had Nas on here. You had Little Kim. You had George Benson on 7 days. Um, R. Kelly produced this song. He was on it as well. I loved it. I definitely everything about it was classic. I don't. This is another album why I don't know why I didn't buy it, but I definitely got to get this one for sure.
I could have sworn you had it though.
Nah, I never bought it. I've heard it in the past, like from cousins and all that. I never bought. I don't know why I never bought it, but I definitely need to get this joint.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely understand it. I definitely
Mhm.
understand you about that. Next joint, my number two is what's her name? Janet Jackson with fucking Velvet Rope. You know, very, very dope album. This came out 4 years after the Janet period record. This was like a lot more darker, a lot more she had like a lot more freedom with this one and stuff. I mean, she always had creative control, but
Mhm.
just some of the stuff she was talking about, it could like the how Rhythm Nation was politically influenced. This album was like sexually influenced and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like songs like fucking Rope Burn. Love that fucking track. Which that kind of got some controversy, if I'm not mistaken, because it's like people thought that she was saying she had a lesbian experience on that record. Free Zone, I love that track.
Yeah.
Together Again. I mean, I'm not the biggest dance fan like that, but I can vibe to that record right there. Go
Mhm.
Deep. I Get Lonely. That and the
Mm.
remix with Blackstreet was good too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this one was a very, very, very dope record. And shit. She didn't really have a lot of interludes on this record like that either. I just
Thank
realized that.
God. you know, but I kind of tired of those interludes, man. You know.
That's my
Yes,
number.
number two. Huh?
I said that's my number two.
Number two for me is Usher, My Way, my favorite Usher album. Yes, is my favorite. I love Confessions. I just think My Way was just he was just in a different I think with him coming back more older and more mature from the first album to this one, it was a different Usher that a lot of people didn't expect. It was more raunchier, nice and slow. You know, it's the USHERRA. I love that whole rhyme for nice and slow. That way he started it off, and um, My Way was a big hit. That was everywhere when that single came out, and you know the You Make Me Wanna, love that track. That was everywhere. You know him. I always remember the video with him like stepping out of the Jordans and at the end of the video, and um he was rocking the do rag. That's really like the first time I want to say like we saw like an R&B singer rock like a do rag on their head. You know what I'm saying? I was like really like we always
Right.
seen the rappers, huh?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean we always saw like Jay-Z, we saw the rappers wear it, but that was like the first one of the first times we saw like an R&B singer wear a do rag like on the regular. Like, that was his thing. He was rocking the do rag. He had the waves and everything. That was like wave era Usher and you know it was great. You know what I'm saying? That like every single on here, he picked the right singles on here. You know, One Day You'll Be Mine, where that beat is like it's basically like Jermaine Dupri took the It Was a Good Day beat and said, "Yo, Usher, sing to this joint."
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
that's what a lot of them R&B producers was doing and shit.
Right.
Taking hip hop
It was
beats.
dope.
Yeah.
It was dope, man. It was dope to hear him over that beat and um, Just Like Me with Little Kim. That was fire. I loved it. I did, for 10 tracks. Really, it's really 9 tracks. We don't count the extended version of My Way, but this was a phenomenal album, man. And Jermaine Dupri's in his bag. And yeah, this is a classic Usher album to me. So
Yes. I think I have a feeling what your number one is. So I feel like we should. I feel like we should say it together.
right,
One, two,
yes,
three. Body with.
yes, definitely, definitely.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Cannot
Like
pick
I don't,
another album over
nah.
this. Mm-mm.
Nah, not Janet, not Usher. It was definitely gonna be Baduizm. Just like this is the Queen of Neo Soul, and it was an R&B. It's an R&B hip hop album, and you had like, you know, I remember like the videos. You had like I think Pete Rock was in the Next Lifetime video with her,
Yeah. A
and you
lot
had
of rap.
Andre. Yeah, like well, she was with Andre at this time, and they had a son together, Seven. The Beat Miners was a part of this album. It was like this is like a dope hip hop R&B album, man, and it's still timeless. Like you can still bump this now, and it still sounds like fresh today. You know what I'm saying? Like it did in '97, and she's a great singer. I saw her in 2006 at Radio City, and she killed it. That's the only time I've seen her live, and Erykah Badu's always been great. She might be a little weird to people, but her music is timeless, man. Like every album she's had, I don't think she has one bad album. Every album she's had has been dope, and this
Yeah.
is like a great album for R&B and neo soul, and you had joints. The On and On was huge, man. Like that shit, they were bumping that shit for. I remember Funkmaster Flex was bumping that shit like for weeks before we even saw the video. It was They were bumping that. I didn't know who the hell she was. I just knew that she sounded different. You know what I'm saying? It was a different sound. And Next Lifetime, that was a banger. Certainly, Apple Tree. This whole album is a Fire My classic, man. This is like to me still her best album. I love Mama's Gun. I know people who love Mama's Gun and they love the New America's joints, but I think this is her best album still.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't pick another album from that. Like when I first thought of '97 R&B, I'm just like this one.
Mm-hmm.
This like that too. I mean, it gave the female perspective of neo soul as well too. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Songs like fucking Other Side of the Game, Next Lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
which I want to do a reaction to that video too,
Okay.
because that
Okay.
video was probably one of my top five R&B videos of all time. But
Mm-hmm.
it has a love hate relation on you. 1 minute it's on YouTube, next minute somebody's taking it off, but we can still watch Cardi B's WAP on YouTube any fucking day and shit. But I'm gonna leave my mouth
Crazy.
shut on that. Honestly, Four Leaf Clover, the cover, the Atlantic Star cover,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the better version because I didn't even know Atlantic Star did the original version until like years ago. Like I
Right.
think maybe like 2 or 3 years ago and stuff like that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when I was like really re-listening to their music and shit.
Yeah.
Certainly flipped it. Oh my god!
So
Sometimes, The Roots definitely did some, and I can tell because it has those Questlove drums,
Right.
stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I love this album so much. I got the CD and the vinyl of this and shit.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
if I love a certain album and I have the CD and vinyl, that says a lot. Pimp a Butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
Thriller.
Facts.
I used to have the Sign of the Times vinyl, but I gave that away to pay some bills and
Yeah.
shit too, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that was and
Yeah.
I got a few unmentions as well too.
Okay.
Now, my first honorable mention is the live album from Erica Badu. I mean,
Nice.
I have to be biased. I mean, I want to also put this on the list as well too, but I'm just
Mm.
like, because technically she did have some new songs, some cover songs,
Right.
technically,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just like, you know what? This might be a conversation in itself and stuff like that. Because live album really was a vibe. Her version of
Yeah.
On and On and others had the game was pretty good, but it's one song, and I
Mm-hmm.
think everyone knows that one song, Tyrone,
Yep.
which possibly her best song ever, possibly.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting tired of your shit. Well, once you start up a song like that,
Mm-hmm.
you fucking fed up and shit. And I like the extended version more
Yeah.
and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Then she had covers like again, she did a cover of "Searching" with Roy Ayers. I'm damn, Roy Ayers was making bank that year and shit. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Boogie Nights all night with the Heat Wave cover and shit like that. All night long being Mary Jane girl. I love how she blended those two together. Her
Yeah.
version of "Stay" with Rufus. I mean, you might have to. I did. I think I did plan on re-reviewing this album as well too. So if I
Yeah. We gotta
do
do that.
talk about the live album,
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned on the reviews and shit. I think I might reveal those after this video's over. And my other honorable mention is going to be Boys to Men Evolution. Again, another very close album on this list too. And no, I'm not putting them on my honorable mentions because I have a love hate relationship with them. Not because I really, really, really wanted to put this on my list and shit. But it was just so many good dope shit. So
Yeah.
many dope shit. Like again, I forgot Anytime by Brian McKnight. But
Yeah.
like this record right here, I think this was a very I want to say this was like the last record they did with Motown, either this one or the
Yeah.
I
That was
think
the
the
last one.
yeah, because
Cause it,
Nathan
yeah, cause
was on
that was
Universal.
on. Yeah. That was universal.
Yeah, so and that by that time I think they had a falling out with Motown due to like creative differences too, because I think Motown had put out the remix album,
Mm-hmm.
and Boyz II Men did not want that to be released and stuff like that too. And also they were having like a lot of personnel issues because Mike Bass and the group was pretty much going at it and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
but on Wax, this was a very dope record. This has some of Boyz II Men's best records, like A Song for Mama, Four
Mm-hmm.
Seasons of Loneliness, um, fucking Can You Stand the Rain and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Can't Let It Go. Didn't
Yeah.
they did a version of Can You Stand the Rain years after, right?
That I think that's on Evolution. I think that's the Evolution joint.
Okay, because it says oh yeah, you're right because you said Jimmy Jam
But
was
it,
here wrote that.
yeah,
Okay.
I believe when they met New Edition, that's the song they sang for them. It was that
I
backstage?
thought it
I
was
think it
Boys.
was that song.
I thought it was Boys.
Okay,
I thought
okay,
I could be wrong. You could be
yeah,
right though, but yeah, 'cause I could have sworn they did their version years later after this album came out and shit though.
mm,
But yeah, man, the Boys to Men reviews are definitely coming. We're gonna have to start with the two albums. 'Cause I promised me and my homeboy we're gonna talk about Coolie High Harmony one day and shit
okay,
too. So
cool.
yeah, man, that's my honorable mentions right there.
I got a couple. I got Allure. Shout out to Allure.
Ooh,
Love their first album. It was a classic. You had the track masters produce it. They had Head Over Heels with Nas, the first single. You had No Question with LL Cool J. You had Nature on this album. You had Raekwon. They did a rendition of All Cried Out, the Lisa and Cult Jam
dope.
classic record from the 80s. Um, who else is on here? You had um I mentioned 112. Yeah, Raekwon was on there. A lot of dope hip hop soul album. You know, this was Mariah Carey's group. They had a falling out, and I did an interview with them. It was like beginning this year or last year. Shout out to Allure. Definitely enjoyed this album. Chico the Barge, long time no see. Underrated album.
Decent.
Um, I definitely enjoyed it, and you know, another DeBarge that had well, he had a short phenomenal career, and then you know got back into drugs, unfortunately. But supposedly he's clean again. He needs to come out with some new music. But this was definitely his best album. And you had joints like Trouble Man, that was a huge hit. You had Ig and Me. You had Miss Wonderful, No Guarantee. Check the No Guarantee remix with Joe. That was a phenomenal remix. And yeah, this was underrated. Definitely enjoyed this album. Also I got Jeanne Saturday Night. I thought that was a banger. Not as great as their first album, but it had some joints on there.
I
Changing
agree.
Faces. Changing Faces sophomore album.
That one.
All Day, All Night. That was a banger. You had All of My Days. You had Get Out UT. That was the first single. That was a huge hit. You know, R. Kelly produced that album. We had Jay-Z on All of My Days joint. I had Christian Ghetto Serrano.
Yep. Christian.
Yes, yes, the R&B group from Rockefeller, and I thought they were severely underrated. I don't think Rockefeller promoted them at all.
Promoted Bleak
And
though.
huh?
They promoted Bleak though.
Oh Lord,
They
they
promoted.
they
They promoted.
promoted me.
They promoted the mill though. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I
they
love
they pro-
Rockefeller. I gotta call
mm,
it spade and shit. I mean,
but they didn't know how to promote. But look at Rel. They had Rel from the beginning, and he never came up with an album. They kept putting out touring singles and putting them on like bonus CDs for Rockefeller or whatever soundtracks, and
they
they
do
never
put
came
him
out
on.
with an album.
I recognize him more on bonus tracks now.
Exactly. They never. I don't know. And he was. I thought he was decent. I'm like, why he never dropped the album?
Mm.
That has to be like the biggest disappointment on Rockefeller is not having Rel drop an album because a Mill dropped a fucking album. She was bad, and you don't have a Rel drop an album. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's been there from day one. So what does that say? Or like they didn't trust him? You know what I'm saying? And I just thought like it was it was bad promotion on both Jay and Dame's part. You know what I'm saying? But they first album was great. You had Full of Smoke. That was a huge hit. I Want to Get Next to You. It reminded me of like some like vintage Motown music in the 90s, and I loved it, man. I think it was a slept on album, and it's a shame we never got anything else from them. But Ghetto Serrano, definitely a classic album. So
Yes. Some of these 97 albums, I'm thinking about talking about them once I
yeah,
come to
yeah,
my
we
break.
should. We should
Because
definitely.
I might go to 1998 next and shit.
Oh, that was a great year too. 98 was great.
Which we can do that Sunday if you want, because this was kind of
Okay.
fun.
Like I'll make my list tonight.
Yeah. If we do a Sunday, it might be before the
Mm.
taxi review. Maybe.
Oh Lord. That should be during the damn taxi review.
Shit. But this was fun as fuck, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Also, a few announcements before I head out. One, the double reviews. I finally narrowed down what double reviews we're gonna do and shit like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like as I mentioned, Erica Badu's Baduism, and I'm going to also talk about Wu Tang's 36 Chambers.
Mm.
Talk about Diary of a Madman, Quemini. It might be a double review with Idlewild just to get those two out the way and shit. Just
Right.
kill off the
So
outcast.
you never talked about Idlewild?
No, that's the last outcast that we haven't talked about.
Okay.
Unsurprisingly.
Right.
What else? What else? Shit, yep, unsurprisingly. Also for double reviews, I was thinking also Walking with the Panther.
Mm, okay.
I might have I'm what I might do, I might really listen to the love songs in this round and shit like that for this
Right.
next week just to see if it was really that bad because I felt like when I reviewed that album for the first time, I kind of get the love songs. I didn't really listen. I didn't really because it was bad, but I just want to say like, was it really as bad as I thought it was and shit
Right.
compared to what we reviewed post
Lord.
95.
Okay.
All right, and the last double review, I want to make this a good one though. I want to make this a good one. Hmm, this might be harder than I thought. I want to do a West Coast album. What's a West Coast album?
West Coast.
I review a certain amount of West Coast and shit, but
Mm,
West Coast. I re-reviewed Straight Outta Compton. I know I did
right.
that. Maybe Ice T's maybe Ice T's Iceberg because that was one of my first
Okay.
reviews too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm also send you the re-reviews and stuff too. So those are the re-reviews, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put this on the fucking chat so y'all can know. And
Mm,
also, oh yeah, YouTube don't support comments on private videos. Okay, great. Okay. Also, I'm posting a poll on the double reviews for R&B. We're gonna talk about possibly because I've been saying we want to talk about these double reviews for years and shit. But I never really had a
mm,
chance to really go through it. Those
right.
are maybe Blige No More Drama, Love and Life, which that was a recent idea, honestly.
Right. 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 Facts.
Guys, self-titled in the future.
Ooh.
Yes.
Dope.
Jade's first two albums. Fucking Jade to the Max and Mind, Body and Song, which personally I really want that the most and shit, honestly.
Yeah.
And finally, what's another- I had this on top of my head. Brownstone's first two albums.
Okay.
Oh wait, scratch that. Not just Brownstone, Changing Faces first two albums too.
Dope.
Yeah, so those are double reviews and shit. Honestly, I have a feeling that everyone's gonna probably pick Mary J. Blige and shit.
Mm,
That's like the most known one and stuff like that
right.
too. But
Yep.
eventually, like all these will get talked about eventually
Right.
and stuff like that too. Because I honestly really want to hear Jade's first two albums again because I forgot how vocally they were dope as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's too bad they're not really remembered as well as
Right.
like plenty of other groups and shit too. Like Envelope.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Because honestly, I feel like they can give Envelope a run for their money vocally and shit. That's just my
Mm,
opinion. Mm. Not nothing against Envelope. I like it. I like
right.
Envelope. But yeah, that's all the shit. 1998 is the next R&B list and stuff
How
like.
many we doing for 98? Is that 10 or what?
Let's raise it up to 15.
15? Okay.
Yeah, let's raise the stakes up a little bit.
Dope.
Um, because 1998 gave us Miseducation.
Mm,
I think Angie Stone's album came out that year too. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting ass list and shit. So really can't wait to
mm-hmm.
talk about that.
Yep.
All in all, appreciate this try as
No
usual,
doubt. No
and I will
doubt.
see y'all later. Expect to see this evening. Peace.
All right. Peace.